Rock 100.5 KATT. I am Cameron Buchholtz here with Doc from Bad Wolves. What's happening, man?
Oh, doing pretty good, you know.
Your lead singer is sick. That's why we're talking to you.
Well, he's not technically sick. He's what we call overworked.
Okay. Well, this is a pretty intense touring schedule you guys are on right now.
Yes, it is. This is more, I guess, more work than I've ever done because, you know, with me and Tommy, we're the ones, you know, do like the acoustic sessions. We'll go to the radio stations or whatever. So a lot of times from the second we get up, we're out. We're doing 3 or 4 songs, then doing a meet.
We're not too mad that you canceled on us today, but like.
No, so we have that, and then we have up to 2 to 3 meet and greets, and then obviously singing for an hour. And he really goes hard on stage, and he just, you know, I think he's just exhausted, and he wants to. We had some technical difficulties, and he was like pushing his voice a little more than he would usual, so he's just kind of being protective. So it's rough out here. People don't know.
Yeah. Well, and you've only got like 5 shows left of the tour, so it's you're on the downhill slide.
Yes, we can count the days, so we get to relax a little bit.
But now it must have been. I mean, it's been what, a month and a half since the record came out, but you guys were working hard well before that, I feel like.
Yeah, we started actually on 4/20.
Okay.
That was the first date of the tour. Well, actually, technically, we started the week before with you know, Jose Mangan from.
Absolutely, sure.
We did a show for him. Then Tommy and I went to Canada, did a press tour, and then yeah. So now we're you know, yeah, April 20th. I don't even know what date it is now. It's
June 29th. So, yeah, I think I talked to Tommy the day before the record came out when you guys were up in Tulsa on that short 5-finger Death Punch run. And, I mean, how has it changed since the album's come out? Because now people know more, you know, because you had like 7 or 8 songs online, but I imagine it's different now with the record.
Well, I mean, I think the combination of the album being out, and then in addition to that, we're doing a headline tour. The truth is, it's just a different kind of connection because we're doing these big, you know, shows opening for bigger bands. We don't know if they're fans of us, they're fans of them, and so those shows are more about getting fans, and these ones are about connecting to people who are, you know, frankly, all our fans are quote-unquote new fans, right? We're a pretty new band, but it's really cool to see, even as the tour goes on, more people singing along, more people kind of having a broader connection. And I feel like as the tour goes on, the shows keep getting bigger as well. There's definitely something in the air, and the tour overall has just been very successful. So it's exciting. You know?
And I'm sure one of the highlights was the Gramercy Theater show where you got to present that check to Dolores O'Riordan's family. Kind of talk to me about that, and I mean that must have been a pretty emotional moment.
Yeah, I mean, that was something we didn't even know was really going to happen until I think maybe a few days beforehand. So that was like, oh, wow, that's going to be happening. And then, you know, it was just a very intense moment just actually meeting her widower. And so all the children weren't there because she has 2 little girls who were saying just a little probably too young for, so, you know, kind of an experience like this. So it was her 1 son and 1 stepson, and then the widower. Yeah, it was very intense, and it was it kind of made everything else a lot more tangible when you kind of see, obviously, those checks, the big checks, they're not the real check, but just the kind of the presentation and everything is like, wow, this is like a real thing, and it's a substantial amount of money, and you get to see that, wow, so the things we're doing are making a real impact in people's lives, and everyone who supported the song really did invest in that that sense of goodwill, you know, and trying to take something tragic and turn to something positive.
Now, with it, you know, you being a new band and probably the first time people hearing you, having it be a cover, is that something that you guys worry about having to like follow up, or like how do you go with that? Because, you know, the second single, Hear Me Now, is also kind of a ballad, which the record is very heavy, and people may not realize that if they only hear the 2 singles.
Well, I'd say we call that in the business good problems to have.
Sure.
Of course, you know, there's been bands that have kind of made their mark with a cover, and then couldn't kind of get out of the shadow of that. And I think, listen, none of us here are dummies. We've been in the business a long time, and we have great people on our team that understand that. But I think we weren't really too worried because we knew the record that we had. We know it's heavy, and the truth is, if you come see us live, there's not going to be any confusion about what the band is. We just happen to be a versatile band. We can do a few different things, but it is important, you know, to try and. There's a bunch of people, you know, here's the thing. I would say this with any band that has a big crossover hit. a lot of those people are never going to be fans of your band. They're gonna like that one song and that's it. And they're kind of they'll enjoy it. And there's a lot of people who know the song who will never even know who does the song. How many bands can you think of? You're like, what's the name of that band?
Yeah, totally.
And the song in a way is more famous than the people that make it. And so the way I look at it is, you know, that crossing over, it just opened up a lot of doors for the band and allowed us a great opportunity to grab a bunch of people who more than likely would have never been exposed to the band otherwise. Because even though the record is heavy, I think it is catchy and it is accessible and it's not heavy in a way that's abrasive that I think will turn people off. So, you know, I think, like I said, I just look at it as a great opportunity, and I think there is enough there in terms of, like I said, Hear Me Now. We have another single, Remember When, which would probably be the next one, and even some of the other tracks on the record, like No Masters, I think do have that potential to grab other people. So we feel good, and you know, we know that, you know, things like this, doing the tours, the support slots, that's how you really connect with people. Like, to be on the radio, that stuff is great, but all this other stuff is really going to cement relationships. You don't just want to be a band that has radio fans. You want real fans like that are going to be there for 10, 20 years.
Totally. Now, you mentioned having been in the business a long time, obviously with God Forbid, and I actually saw you with Lamb of God here in Oklahoma City. But so what has been different in your mind about this band? I'm sure there's a lot of things, but what's like the main thing that sticks out of like, okay, this feels completely different than anything before?
Well, I mean, I think everything's different. I mean, I think the primary thing that's different is just God Forbid really came out of a scene. You know, we came up as organically as possible in the hardcore, metalcore scene, and everything was one show at a time, one record at a time, it was such a slow burn. And this really, we kind of, everything just happened so quickly. And when we released that first song, Learn to Live, there was just, people were just on it. Like, it was just like, I feel with God Forbid, it was always trying to, like, you're like campaigning for yourself all the time. We're really trying to get on the show. We're really trying to get people to buy our record. And this, it seems like people naturally like it. They just want to like it, and it spreads. And it's, there's I guess an effortlessness to, or just a very organic way that people have gravitated towards the band. And in some sense it's overwhelming, because it's just, you're so used to struggling and to have something finally work. It's like, it's almost weird. You're like, I guess my tendency is always to wait for the other shoe to drop. Like, okay, so when's something bad gonna happen? Which is good and bad. I think you're trying to be realistic about things, but it's for me, I try not to think about the bigness of it all, and I just try and focus on, let's have a good show today. Let's, like, we just did a meet and greet. You guys were there. And look everyone in the eye. Thank them for being there, because I know what it's like to have no one come to the show. So to have that many people and that much support, it's very humbling, and and I'm just grateful to be here.
Well, awesome, man. Well, I won't take up any more of your time, but thanks so much, and congrats on the record, and stoked for the show tonight, man.
Thank you so much, man. You guys, really appreciate it.